red states could choose and how they allow people to vote in their states. What I think would be something that some red states could propose is, well, okay, if Democrat voters choose to flee these blue states where they cannot tolerate the living conditions, they don't want their children taught these horrible things, and they really change their mind on the types of policies that they support, well, once they move to a red state, guess what? Maybe you don't get to vote for 5 years.
Wow, that's a very colorful thought and theory. Of course, I don't think she's looked at a map because it's like a lot of the blue states are on the outside and kind of the red states are. Anyway, but the way it goes, we know that not everybody agrees with Marjorie Taylor Greene, including myself. And apparently, neither does Laura Ingraham. She is not a big fan of this national divorce notion. And so that female face of Fox News felt she needed to say something about it.
Okay, well, first, a law prohibiting American citizens who've not committed a crime from voting would probably not withstand legal scrutiny. And second, how would this, like a national divorce, be good for conservatism? Last thing we need is an American breakup of any sort. Remember, a motto of this show, almost from the start, over 5 years ago, has been no state left behind. Just because it often seems like Democrats have given up on America themselves doesn't mean ever that Republicans or conservatives should. They should not. I'm certainly not willing to give up on the states that gave us Sinatra, John Wayne, or that welcomed my grandparents from Poland. There are good, hardworking people in Illinois, in New York, and in California, Washington State, who don't want to move and who are looking for new leadership.
Look at Laura Ingraham putting that University of Virginia law degree to work. And also just speaking facts, because there are a lot of people out there who do not think it would be a good thing to divorce these states. And neither do I. And it also would put a lot of states in a bad situation because we over here in the nation of California, well, we kind of stunting when it comes to GDP, but that's just me. But as far as your recollection may serve you, this whole national divorce conversation, it really came into play on Monday when Greene tweeted this out here, basically saying that we have to separate by red states and blue states and shrink the federal government. It's very interesting when people like Greene have these theories, because again, if you look at a map and you look at which states are red and which states are blue, you'd notice it doesn't really bode well for a divorce. But anyway, also the logic of income and who is really generating it and how it's being spent. I don't think that Greene really paid attention that day. But we also can presume that she definitely posted that original tweet just really to rile up her extreme right-wing base. And of course, she has since tripled down. And the gentlewoman from Georgia, well, she posted this on Wednesday. People saying national divorce is a bad idea because the left will never stop trying to control us, literally make the case for national divorce. We don't want a civil war. We're not surrendering. We are tired of complaining with no change and want to protect our way of life. That's interesting. I would say that Greene's way of life is kind of just code for let's exclude and discriminate against anyone who doesn't fit a white, Christian, cis hetero narrative. But those are just my thoughts. And also I kind of think that since, Greene is going through a divorce, she might be projecting, and this is more of a conversation she should have had with her therapist than her millions of followers on Twitter, assuming she has millions, but I'm sure she does because everybody's got to watch a train wreck. But I know that you would definitely want to imagine that she'd be alone in her little thought process, but apparently not. Her right-wing friend, that is felony dodger, Matt Gaetz, well, he took to Fox News to really share this take.
I'm not for a national divorce, but I do think the federal government should at least have to spend the night on the couch for a while, like Bill Clinton had to after the Monica Lewinsky stuff.
I know that man is not talking about how someone else's husband was treated when they engaged in some nonsense. But I will go ahead and leave that there. Malaika, your thoughts?
First of all, I just want to apologize on behalf of the state of Georgia as a Georgia resident that this is what our state has given to us. Apologies to say the most outlandish things. And I think because of her few or however many likes that she gets on Twitter, she ignores the fact that there are actually a lot of folks in this country who do not believe in that, even in her own state. And so when you look at the capitals of a lot of these states, when you're looking at Austin, Texas, when you're looking at Atlanta, Georgia, when you're looking at Miami, Florida, all of these so-called red states have very prominent capitals and prominent major cities where Black people, where people of color, where liberal folks live. So I would really love to see what happens once they decide to divorce. Are they then going to divorce from the cities that create their revenue, that generate the revenue for the state as well? If we're going to be divorcing, we just go all the way, divorce from the cities, and let's see what happens.
It would be very interesting to watch. It's incredibly sad. And the thing is, I used to years ago think, oh, well, why can't we just see the union? Let's just go. We don't want to deal with this. But then I also realized that there are individuals, as you've noted, in a lot of these states that are red states, and in the cities there are blue, where there'd be a lot of Black people and other people of color who have been marginalized, who would be abandoned. And they still have some semblance of rights because they are part of the union, because we are all rolling together. And so if we're going to be one and protect people, we need to do that to the fullest extent. We don't need to break off so states' rights can be the way of the law, because as we know, those states are going to continue to marginalize those individuals. They're going to continue to abuse and mistreat them. And that's something that people really need to be made aware of. The fact that we all need each other, except for California, to really continue to do well and to thrive as a country, as a nation, to be able to afford half of the things we afford, even though it basically feels like we are affording capitalism, corporatism, and everything that continues to oppress all of us, even though there are so many people who continue to vote for it because they don't want to see it. Malaika, any following closing words on this?
I just want to say that's great. Co-sign that, ditto.